if you are building a team around your quarterback, I think you're flawed. I've always thought that. Okay. Um, New England did it for a long time. Now, listen, they got a little assistance with Tom Brady and his financial situation. We all know how that worked out and so on. But um, you've got to try to build a complete team that can do a lot of different things. If your quarterback goes down and everything you do is revolved around him, you're going to be in trouble. Just ask the Colts the year that Peyton couldn't play in 2011 with the neck surgeries and all that stuff. That was a total disaster. Look at the Jets this year, who put a lot of stock into Aaron Rodgers. Didn't necessarily. I understand that Joe Douglas has done some good drafting and so on, but when you are quarterback dependent and not team dependent, you're going, and that's why you see guys like Brock Purdy, and you see guys who are support you. That's why you see Nick Foles win a Super Bowl as a starting quarterback. Why? Because the Eagles have built their teams around their offensive and defensive lines. That's why they've been able to sustain what they do. I mean, inevitably, it comes down to the guys in the trenches. Think about this for a second. It took 57 years for a quarterback to lead the league in passing yards and win the Super Bowl the same year. Patrick Mahomes was the first player to do that.
Wow.
So, for all, different numbers here and different numbers there and so on, to me, that's incredibly relevant in what should be a team game. But by the way, I'll just remind you of something. Last year, and I want to say, was it Mayfield who did it twice for two different teams? We had 69 different starting quarterbacks last year.
Wow.
So we haven't gotten there yet, but we are certainly closing in. So, but other thing, you asked about the money, Petey, and just remember something. Quarterbacks get the big contracts, but the first guy who gets asked to restructure his contract when the salary cap kicks in or there's problems is the quarterback. Deferring money here, deferring money there. Interesting to see how this all plays out. It'll be interesting to see how the offseason plays out, especially for some quarterbacks who did sign big deals and could wind up being free agents.
You hear the Bill Belichick chant that Bill Belichick could be on his way out. I do believe he wants to pass Shula. If he does step away from the Patriots or the Patriots decide to part ways with him and they bring in Mike Vrabel if he becomes available, whatever happens, I've always said there is a team right over in Los Angeles that could use a coach as good as Bill Belichick, who has a quarterback there right now, stabilize the quarterback position. They just need the right coach to coach that team. I do believe that Bill Belichick, if he becomes available, will be heading to L.A. with the Chargers. What are your thoughts to Bill Belichick staying with the Patriots in the offseason, or does he flee and go somewhere else and has a chance to win somewhere else, just like Tom Brady did?
Well, I'll be curious to see how Robert Kraft handles this. It's obviously been a disappointing year for them. The last time they lost 10 games was Belichick's first year with the team back in 2000. I mean, he's had some losing. He's had 3 losing seasons in the last 4 years. But it will depend on that. Now, you bring up a good point about the Chargers because not only do they have the quarterback, Bill Belichick is a very detail-oriented guy. And the one thing about the Chargers we have certainly seen the last couple of years is details are an afterthought. 1 year is let's go for fourth down on every fourth down. Let's go for it. Last year, they got hot at the end of the year, but that all went right out the window when you blow a 27-point lead in the playoffs like they did. This year they've been like Noah's Ark. Lose 2, win 2, lose 2, win 2, lose 3, I think now. And then they finally came back and won last week and so on. So they're, to me, one of the 5 most disappointing teams in the league. There's certainly talent there. They've got a guy, Justin Herbert's had a good year. Keenan Allen's having a monster year. Khalil Mack is leading the league in sacks, and yet they're under 500. So I'll be curious to see what the Chargers do with that whole situation as far as Brandon Staley, because it's been a disappointment for them. Now, not everybody expects them to catch the Chiefs necessarily, but, they have just been a real disaster in terms of details, losing close games, just finding ways to lose, squander games and so on. And that's not the kind of thing you see from Bill Belichick team.